Now, at this point, you probably noticed that we're missing one of the most fundamental of commands, and that is basically the ability to delete things. So we know how to create things, we know how to search things, we know how to do all these other things, but how do we actually remove and delete nodes? Okay, so unsurprisingly, that is under Wibble delete, and the idea is basically here you just need to specify a minimal kind of identifying ID for it to be able to do anything. So if we do Wibble search everything, just to remind ourselves of what we've got here. So we have this another test, this time with a new title, which has this data directory attached, and if we do list that data, or we could have done what was it? Search. That's it. Yeah, with view data another test. That would be probably a faster way of doing it than typing all of that. But anyway, the point is we have this note, and it also has this associated note data directory. I wanted to show that because basically, deleting a note is one thing, but the thing to be aware of is if you tell it to delete a note which has an associated note data directory as well, it will also permanently delete all of that note data directory, which kind of makes sense because basically if you're removing a note which has a load of associated attachments and other data, you want it to clean that up as well. But obviously that's quite a nuclear option, so you need to be a bit careful. But fortunately, I've made it pretty difficult for you to accidentally shoot yourself in the foot. So let's get that ID. So let's delete that another test, but let's get that ID. So the first thing we want to do is we will search show us the metadata of the note with the title another test. Okay, so we can see here, we know that this note that we're interested in starts with this free FC UUID, and in fact all of the data is stored under a separate kind of note data directory. I think I mentioned this, but just to clarify, if we look under the main Wibble installation here, the notes and the notes data are in two completely separate different places, and this is specifically for the backup option because you want to be able to quickly rapid fire do backups of your notes, and I'll cover that in the backup command shortly. But you don't necessarily always want to do a full backup all your note data. I mean, your notes, unless you have literally hundreds of thousands of them, are probably going to be no more than a few megabytes big, even after you have a huge number. But your note data, that might conceivably be gigabytes and gigabytes, hundreds of gigabytes, if you're storing kind of like video files and other associated kind of large kind of binary kind of data and things in there. So again, the separation of the notes and the note underscore data into two separate trees is a deliberate design decision, and it helps to enable you to just do either a small kind of partial backup of your notes together with all the metadata in the database, again it's all plain text, or an absolute full complete backup which includes all your note data. But I'm jumping ahead. Here we're really interested in talking about the deletion of notes and the deletion of things. So we know that we have this ID here, and this is the note that we want to delete. So basically, if we Wibble help delete, again you can always remember, use the help option if you're not sure. And again, you basically invoke it with Wibble delete, and then the enough of the UUID, so you don't have to type this full thing, just enough of it to uniquely identify one particular note. If it identifies and matches more than one note, it won't do anything. It will just warn you and refuse to do further. Similarly, if you want to delete an archive note, then you pass in the archive command. But we want to delete this free FC, and as it happens, we're going to nuke all of the data directory that goes with it. So if you do Wibble delete and then free FC, that should be enough, but I'll put 4 as well. That should uniquely identify that note, and in fact it does. And so, you know, it gives you this fair chunk of verbiage here to really confirm and make certain you absolutely really want to proceed with this. So as it's explaining here, it presents the note metadata you're about to confirm the kind of note that you're going to delete, the actual file you're going to delete. And in this case, because we have a note data directory, it's telling you it's going to remove this directory as well, which happens to contain 3.1 megabytes of data. So we're removing the underlying note, the metadata, and the data directory. So to confirm, you type delete, as it says there, type delete without quotes. And then final confirmation, just to clarify you're going to permanently delete this, type yes, and then wham, it's all gone. So now if we do a little search, everything, unsurprisingly that note has gone. And if we just do a quick tree on that note data, there you go, you can see that basically all of that has been cleaned up as well. So because we only had that one note, which only one note had some associated data, so that has been removed from that note data directory, and because that was the only one, consequently the directory is now showing as empty because there's nothing else. But basically use Wibble delete and it will permanently delete the given note, and if the note has associated note data, basically if you've added files and attachments in that directory, it will also delete that directory. But it does warn you before it does all this, and it does have two-step confirmation. You have to first type delete, and then you have to type yes all in capitals. So really no excuse for any accidental deletion or removal of data. I've made it quite hard for you to accidentally shoot yourself in the foot here.